Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. We're filming these pretty close to my last one, so that's pretty good. Firstly, I want to mention, sorry for the bad lighting. It's 3 AM. Well, it's nearly 4 AM, but I have to have my house lighting on just because it's that time of the day. Oh gosh, my camera's all wrong. It's that time of the day, so I need to have this lighting on. And secondly, there will be glare because I need to use my laptop for these books because there are a lot of them. So, this is my wrap up for the month of April. April was an amazing reading month for me. I read/listened to 17 books, which is the most I've ever got through. And the only way I've managed to do this is via my job, which a lot of people, especially my friends, are going to be sick of hearing about that. So I try and not mention it a lot, but that is the main reason why I have managed to get through so many books, is because of my job. Because I can listen to books as I work. And I've managed to also get through a lot of these because some of them I listen to on 2 times speed, so I got through them pretty quickly. I was listening to at least like a book a day, sometimes a book every 2 days, but mostly a book a day. So I've already done my owls, what I read, and I will be mentioning those here, but there won't be much detail, just what it was, like the book and what I rated it basically. So those, however many I read for the owls, 7 I think books will be briefly mentioned, but not much of a synopsis will be given other than for one book which I am in love with and is my favourite book of the month, but I will be mentioning that last, so don't get confused. Okay, so we're just going to start working down the list until I get to this, my favourite book of the month, jump over that one, and then we'll mention that one at the end before I mention the book that I'm currently reading, which you can see. So the first book I finished, I did not read this in the entirety or listen to this in the entirety, was Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Seanan McGuire. I gave this 4 stars. This is the one that follows Jack and Jill through their world, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favourite of the series that I've read so far, and I've read 3 from the series, and I really loved it. It was an amazing, it was a sweet story. And then I listened to Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I loved this book. I forgot how much I love the Shadowhunter world. It's just an amazingly complex world with complex characters who don't seem complex on the surface, but when you start reading or listening to one of the books, you kind of realise that the main characters have a lot going on, and it's just, it's an amazing story. I gave this 4 stars. The reason this is 5 stars is because there was a considerably less amount of action in this book than compared to the first one of this trilogy. I just found that was a little bit downing on the story, just because I like the action from these books. There's always a lot of fighting and a lot of like sibling rivalry and things, and I like that, but there wasn't much of that in this book, which was kind of sad. The next book I read, this is where we're going to have to consult my laptop. The next book I read was Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. I gave this 4 stars, and this follows, I cannot remember the name of the main character. Alosa, maybe. Basically she is sent on a mission to retrieve a a map from a group of pirates, and in order to do this, she has to get herself deliberately captured by these people, and it's the story of how she manipulates these people to get the map for her father, who turns out to be the Pirate King. And this was an amazing story about a strong female character who knows how to protect herself, who even throughout the book it says it's not normal for a woman to be the lead of a ship. I can't remember for the life of me what it's called. And it was just a wholesome book of this main character is a woman, and yet she is able to control these people. And it's classic fantasy of what you see of like a woman in charge. I am staring at the glare in my glasses and it's really annoying me, but we're gonna carry on. It was just an amazing book. I did give this 4 stars. It didn't blow me away, but I liked, like, it wasn't like my favourite book ever, but I did absolutely love the premise, and I'm hoping to like the second book, but I know that a lot of people don't like it as much as the first one. And one of my friends didn't like it as much as the first one. She rated it the same, but it wasn't the same, if that makes sense. Okay, next I listened to Harry Potter the Prisoner of Azkaban and Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire straight after each other. These both were obviously 5-star reads. They are both amazing. I think my favourite one, I think it might have, I don't know, I'm still trying to decide which one my favourite Harry Potter is, but it's definitely between Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire. Goblet of Fire, there is the tournament, which is an amazing element. Prisoner of Azkaban is where Sirius is introduced, and I absolutely love Sirius Black. He is one of my favourite characters out of the whole Harry Potter series, so I don't know how, it's difficult to decide between those two books. Those two are tied for first place for me. Cat scratching at my dog because she's heard that I'm awake. Next, I listened to The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, I love Lord of the Rings. It is an amazing story, an amazing world. However, I ruined it for myself. I listened to it on 2x speed, and I shouldn't have. That took me out of the book sometimes, and luckily I know the story, so I accidentally skip over a bit, not like in the actual book, but I just stop listening and then I'd start listening again without realising that I'd switched off. But I could pick out where I was. I gave this 3 stars mainly for that reason. I do absolutely love the story of Lord of the Rings and Fellowship of the Ring. Lord of the Rings is the series. I do absolutely love this story, and I do hope that I can listen to it again at some point. I have it on Audible, so maybe I can try again in a couple of months. Maybe do it as a reread just because, and listen to it slower. Or maybe I can get the physical copy, which is what I mainly want to do, and read it physically. I think that one might keep me in the story more, because whilst I'm at work, sometimes the music is loud that they play and it takes me out of the story. And I have to keep like reminding myself that I'm listening to a book. And that was the only problem with that one. Other than that, I absolutely love the story of The Fellowship of the Ring. It is, if you don't know, it is the first Lord of the Rings book where, I'm going to blank on names. Right, 1 second, let me get this up. Frodo, right. Okay, I get Bilbo and Frodo mixed up sometimes. Frodo Baggins inherits this ring from Bilbo Baggins, who I mix up all of the time. And Frodo and a group of other hobbits go on a quest to take this ring back to where it should be. where it was taken from, basically. And along the road, we end up with a human character, a dwarf, and an elf. I can't remember if there's another one. There is at least 3 hobbits, a dwarf, an elf, and a human on the path. And this story follows the Dark Riders as they're trying to get these people and stop them from getting to where they need to be. Yes, I absolutely love this book. It is an amazing story. From there, I went on to The False King by Jennifer A. Nielsen. I again gave this 3 stars. Just need to get my stuff up. This follows oh boy, I can't remember his name. I cannot remember his name. And it's not in the synopsis. Sage. It is in the synopsis I lied. This follows a boy named Sage who is from an orphanage and gets taken with 2 other boys to I think it starts with 3 other boys, but one of them is killed. Taken with 3 other boys to be trained to become the false king, but there are twists, and it is the false king, the false prince. It was a fun story. It didn't blow me away, and there were just some bits that I thought needed changing or like felt convenient for me. So I gave this 3 stars, but it wasn't an awful book, and I definitely want to listen to the next ones in the series or read them if I get a copy. From there, I went on to An Unkindness of Magicians. I gave this 2 stars. I DNF'd it. No, I didn't. That's a lie. That is a complete lie. I read the entirety of it. It was The Last Magician I DNF'd. That's not even on this list. I got the gist of the story of magicians are bad or something like that. I don't really know. That kind of Magicians by Cat Howard, not for me. Gave it 2 stars, wasn't the best. Then we have my best book of the month, which we're going to skip over and come to at the end. From there, after finishing the book that I'm going to mention at the end, I listened to Underneath the Sugar Sky. What is Beneath the Sugar Sky? It is. I've just written it wrong. I've written it wrong in my journal. It's fine. Yeah. So, I listened to Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This one follows I can't really tell you because it's a spoiler for the first book, but essentially Sumi's daughter comes down to Earth to find Sumi, and it follows the events of what happened in the first book as a repercussion as to why she is here. I enjoyed it. It was fun, but it wasn't the best one. I gave this 3 stars. I just thought that it wasn't it was lacking elements, I feel. I could be just being harsh, but I felt like it was lacking elements. From that, I went on to read the ebook of Binti by Nnedi Okorafor, I think. I gave this 2 stars. I didn't like it. However, I think if it was a novel or a longer book, at least longer than 96 pages, I would have really enjoyed this book. I think it was just missing elements. I disliked this because you are just thrown into certain situations. So you start off on Earth, I think you start off on Earth, and then you are on a spaceship, and then all of a sudden you're the only one on the spaceship, and then there are monsters there, and then all of a sudden you're at the university that you're traveling to. It felt jumpy, and there was a section where she was just like she was in her room, she went to her room, and then it's 4 days later. And I would have liked to have known bits, and it was just, it felt rushed. It didn't feel right to be a short story, basically. And I know that a lot of people like Binti, and I'm sorry for those of you who do. I wasn't a fan of it, and I don't think I'll be continuing with the trilogy. The next book I listened to was Mind Games by Kirsten White. I really, it wasn't like my favourite book. I gave it 3 stars, but I did really enjoy the story and the premise. This is about a pair of twins, and one of them is blind, but she can see the future, or she can see what's going to happen with someone. And it is about her sister, the blind girl's sister, having to protect her, and it's just the events that unfold of that weighing on her and other things. And after the ending, partway through I was like, right, this is not for me, but I'm going to listen to the end. Now the ending, I want to know what's happened with the twin, because yeah. From that, I finished reading The Obelisk Gate. I finished reading the last half of The Obelisk Gate. I started it in March, I think. Some point, it took me a while to read it. I just stopped reading it for a while. I gave it 3 stars. It wasn't my favourite. The first book was definitely better. However, I still hope to read the final book in the trilogy. Yeah, this was the group book for my book club that I have with my friends, and they kind of feel the same way, that it wasn't the best, but it was still a really good book, and it was a really good installment to the series. I just gave it 3 stars. I feel like that's just me being harsh in my rating system, but yeah. This book is obviously the continuation of the 5th season. The 5th season being the introduction to this world and a lot of world building. It was very, very slow and very confusing at times. The first book, we follow 3 characters and the events that unfold from that. If you've read it, you will know that it might not be 3 characters. That is a spoiler. Okay, I'm sorry. And then this second book follows one of the main characters from the previous book and her daughter perspectives, and it kind of switches backwards and forwards between them, and I thought it was really good. I do want to see what happens with the next one. Yeah, so I heard that. Then I listened straight after each other, Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. I was told partway through listening to this that I should have listened or read the first series first, and I haven't, but I don't care. It made sense to me anyway, and I probably won't listen to those books. I gave A Dance of Thieves 4 stars and A Vow of Thieves 5 stars. I was going to give them both 5 stars, but I feel like A Vow of Thieves kind of was a little bit better. And I tend to rate the first book in a series 1 star lower so that it's got space to improve. Yeah, I love these books. These were so sweet. These were classic fantasy in the sense that you have 2 characters who inevitably fall in love, and it was just amazing. I loved it. It's amazing. Read it, listen to it. Okay, I have 2 books left to show you, 3 including my favourite book. From there, I went on and listened to Torik's Dagger by Jamie Edmondson. I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't bad per se. Similar thing as to what happened with Fellowship of the Ring. However, I was listening to it at 1.5 speed. So, and that is just a little bit faster than normal speed, but he reads quite slowly, so I sped it up to 1.5. And there were just sections where I found myself coming in and out of the story, and yet I could still pick out bits. And yeah, this is essentially a Lord of the Rings retelling, if you will, where a dagger has been stolen and a group of people have been sent onto a quest to retrieve the dagger. And the events unfold, and it is about a pair of twins again who can communicate telepathically, and they have to lead this band of like mercenaries and things to go get the dagger, and fighting happens, but I don't really know where because I was confused for some of it. Yeah, I gave this 3 stars. It wasn't the best, but I'm tempted to maybe try and get the physical book and read the physical book, because I feel like I might stay in the story more with that. Finally, I listened to The Uglies by Scott Westerfeld, or Westerfield, whatever his name is, because I don't know. This was my first ever reread, and I listened to the audiobook for this, and I did enjoy it. I have changed my rating for this from 5 to 4 stars. It was an enjoyable story to me. It was very nostalgic for me for how I used to absolutely love this book. However, I didn't love it as much as I did the first time around. I see the flaws in it this time, with the whole premise being everyone is born ugly, and then at the age of 16 or 18 in some countries, they get an operation to make them pretty. And that is, their skin is buffed to get rid of any imperfections, their bones are changed to make them and the perfect height and the perfect skinniness or the perfect thickness, whatever. It just didn't sit well with me that it's essentially I don't know how to explain it. It's just like not loving yourself. However, there is a character in here that says, I don't want, like, all the way through, she's like, I don't want the operation, I like how I look now. And yeah, and the main character, she's just like, but how, you're ugly. And yeah, it's just a brainwashing thing, and that just didn't sit right with me. But other than that, I did give this 4 stars, and I did really enjoy it. So yes, okay, coming on to my favourite book of the month, which I really enjoyed. This I gave 5 stars, which I didn't give many 5 stars this month, which is a shocker, really. So this book is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Mahurin? Maybe. I don't know. This follows a witch and a witch hunter, and right at the beginning of the book there is a problem, and these two end up becoming married, and it is an amazing premise. It isn't until the end that the witch hunter finds out that his wife is a witch, and it is coming to terms with that, but I absolutely loved it. And the action scenes in here are amazing. The relationship build up in here is amazing. I will say, warnings for sex scene in here. If you are a younger reader, maybe wait a couple of years to read this, because it can be quite graphic. But yes, it's kind of bordering with a Sarah J Maas sex scene. Yeah, if you've read Sarah J Maas, you might understand what I mean by that. Yeah, it was just amazing. I absolutely love this. And yeah, so in my journal, I've obviously done my best book of the month page, which just has 2 quotes and the book cover in the middle. And then as a filler page, I did appreciation page, and we're gonna ignore the mouth of the serpent because it messed up incredibly. But I did an appreciation page. It looked better before it was in gold. We're just gonna say that outright. But yes, that is everything that I read in the month of April. I'm hoping to have a similarly effective reading month in the month of May, providing I get to keep my job, because I'm on a temporary contract, so it can basically be taken away from me at any point. But for as long as lockdown continues in the UK, I will have a job, which it is at some point this month that gets rediscussed, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that is everything for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.